Hi everyone, it's Dan back again with a video review of the Transformers Combiner Wars. Here we have the Decepticon Blast Off, one of our 5 figures to form Bruticus. Here you can take a quick look at the front of the package here. I realize the lights give a little bit of glare, but again we've got a comic book, the figure, a couple accessories in there, basically a weapon and his foot and hand piece for combination. And if we flip around to the back, pretty consistent in terms of a couple picks, and then a pick on the right of Bruticus. So let's open them up and take a closer look. And again, quickly before I get into the figure, he comes with this comic book, at least my version does. I understand with the Combiner Wars that's kind of a hit or miss sometimes, but you've got the Blast Off cover art there, which is pretty cool. Again, the comic's not about him, though I did notice it had Swindle in it, so they're starting to introduce him. And on the back here, I finally found where it is mentioning Combaticons. It is on the back there, and I checked Brawls. It's on the back of Brawl as well. Kind of a subgroup, Combaticons. It's the only place I've been able to find in all the packaging or anything with the figure using that term. And then here, up on this right-hand section here, let me just focus. This text on the back of the comic, and you can pause it to read it. It actually does a nice job kind of connecting the dots between Blast Off the space shuttle to Blast Off kind of the airplane and how he's been changing modes and his role on the team. So that's kind of neat just in terms of bridging for some of us, the fact that he's not the alt mode that we might be used to seeing. So you can pause that and read it there. There's a little bit more here. You can pause that and read that. Okay, let's take a quick look at his gun. So just want to look at this quickly before we get into the figure because two reasons. A, it's a pretty cool gun. It's something much more significant than Brawl's, which is a simple black gun which had to double up as his gun turret. So not much there in terms of style or detailing, but Blast Off gun here is really pretty slick, as you can see. A lot of detailing there. And also it I think highlights very well the color black that's used on his figure, which I think is cool, and hopefully we'll see it when we do a quick zoom in on the figure, but it's kind of like a metallic black. Alright, let's take a look at Blast Off. So here's Blast Off from the front. I gotta say I'm pretty pleased with the color scheme. I think pretty traditional and consistent with what you'd expect with Blast Off in terms of the brown color and the purple being used. Yellow accents are nice. Decepticon logo still pops, even though it's kind of purple on the chest. Looking pretty good from the front. Here he is from the back. And just given the deluxe nature of the figure, the back tends to get loaded with some kibble, which is the case here as well. You've got the whole airplane kind of mode just folded back behind his head is the worst of it. But then you'll see from the side here a lot of fins flying out as well. So this is the side where you can see kind of the fins on the feet and the fins on the back. And I think considering that he's in an airplane now, it's not terrible. I just think I did a Thundercracker Masterpiece review maybe a week or so ago, and that Masterpiece figure has a lot of the same dynamics here in terms of fins and rudders and wings. With no better place to go than looking something like what you have here with Blast Off. So I think that's okay. So let's zoom in on the guy and take a closer look at the details. So let's do a quick pan up on Vortex from the front, and hopefully there you should be able to see the black feet I'm talking about. It's definitely kind of different metallic kind of black. You'll see it on the hands and some other areas. But here you can see some of the molding, some of the yellow accenting that's painted into the figure, kind of how they swap back and forth between the brown and the purple accents. Looks pretty good. Sharp Decepticon logo. Here on the chest you can see the purple, kind of in that rib area is more that black accenting. And up into the head sculpt here. Here you can take a closer look at the head sculpt. You see they're using some kind of lighter purple for the eyes and visor, and that metallic black. It's not quite gunmetal, but it is literally more of like a metallic black kind of look for the face area, but keeping the brown trim around the bottom of the face. So it looks like he's got one of those skinny beard shave things or something. Maybe they should have colored that all in, but it's okay. Here you got the back of the figure, and it's mainly just about hiding and storing away fins and wings. You can see a lot of that on the back of the leg there. And coming right at you there. Straight from the back. There's the airplane kibble. So pretty chunky and kind of clunky in the back with all this stuff going on. And now let's just go up his left side here. Again, you can see the foot there if you want to see the black. Some of the fins popping out. He's got some more black accent paint on the side of his kind of shin there. That's kind of a nice unexpected detail. Here's his side, and if I switch the focus, you can see there the back of the hand, he's got a blaster on it. It's also that accented black color. So the hand looks pretty neat. And let's just go the rest of the way up. Wings, airplane, side of the head. And just for a quick articulation overview of the figure, his legs are basically on ball joints there, so those are going to swivel around all over the place, really only be limited by the kibble. So you can do about anything there at the kind of hip. He's got a thigh swivel, so you can 360 that around. And he's got a knee, so you can get 90 degrees like that. There's nothing really going on in the feet. As you can see there a little bit, you can get your waist to spin around. The head actually has some movement, much better than what we saw with Brawl. So it can go up and down and 360 as well. Arms are on ball joint at the shoulder, so you can get all range of movement there. Get some ratchety kind of elbow joints here. And the hands are fixed. So that's about the extent of the range of movement. So let me show you how to transform them. So transformation is pretty simple. They describe it as a 10-step process. Maybe it's even less, depending on how you think about steps. But they want you to spin his head around because that needs to hide away in the bottom of the plane. Bring the backpack airplane head up. In terms of the legs, they have this splitting mechanism in them. So they split apart like this. That shows up okay. And then they kind of accordion in, and that's how you close some of the length gap between robot and alt mode. So do that on both sides, split the leg. I think it's easiest to do it at the top. Fold down. So once you've got that all pegged together nicely, you just bring down the fin in the back, lower these fins, so you've got this kind of angle going. In terms of the arms, and they're on these ball joints, so you actually just kind of pull them down. So they tuck away and in, push them down. And there are some tabbing mechanisms there. With those tabbed together, fold down the wings. And that's basically him, though he does have a landing gear. So that's getting blast off into alt mode. Pretty simple. So here's blast off from the side. You can see how he sits kind of on his knees, feet, and then the landing gear in the front. I will say there, it would be nice if his feet would really just kind of fold up and tuck away, and then he'd just mainly sit on his knees and in his landing gear. I think that would be sufficient and look a little bit sleeker. Here he is from the front. We got the focus on kind of just the headpiece there, so you can see the black nose cone. Some of that light purple, that's the same shade of his eye visor, is the cockpit glass. And if we just swap back the focus, you can see going back from the cockpit, you've got some venting detail here. And again, just kind of that chunky kind of look of everything underneath definitely comes out. Here's a shot of his right side. Pretty consistent with the other side. You do get kind of a screw that's visible there and kind of jumps out at you. And finally here in the back, you got the bottom of the feet, which they put some molding on to give it sort of a vent look. You know, maybe that circle there, use your imagination, as sort of a rocket engine. But not much going on from the backside view. So I'm just going to pick them up here and give you the topside view, which has some of the best and worst qualities. I like the wings. They've got some, you know, kind of sharp accenting here, which makes it look really kind of slick and fast, I suppose. The arms, excuse me, below the wings, that's probably the worst of the top view of the plane. It's what's creating some of the thickness from the top side. Whereas the airplane kind of comes here, then the arms come out, you know, another ½ inch as they try to tuck those away. Then you've got just the paint on the wings, which is probably where the most paint is, the most detailing. You've got that black metallic stripe on the outside, then it goes purple, silver, purple, silver, purple in terms of just putting some striping through, and they tag the Decepticon logo there on the middle purple stripe, so that looks really sharp. And here's his underside, you know, which is definitely not his best side. You got the legs folded up there, really just taking up the whole bottom of the airplane and the feet sticking out. Again, a little bit of help I think would have been folding those into the leg somehow. Maybe just a simple panel that could flip over and accommodate some space in there. Okay guys, so to get this guy into his combined arm mode, a few simple steps that's easiest to do starting from robot mode. First, I like to just spin his head around. It's not in the instructions, but I think it just hides things better. So spin his head around and then just push down to bring out the arm attachment. Right, that's going to be the plug. We need to get the arms out of the way. So those basically just kind of come up and behind the shoulders here, up and back, and use that elbow rotation to get them folded up behind the figure, basically tucking them in kind of within the wings there. Next, we want to just tab the legs together. It's a pretty simple tab on the inside to do that. Then just give it like a 90-degree turn. So now you have something like this. We'll actually face this way. In terms of the fins, they say it's best to kind of fold those down, but you could probably do a lot of different things depending on how you want to flare things around. Same thing with the wings too. If you want kind of like cooler, almost shield looking effect on the outside, you could kind of customize your transformation to do some stuff. But the directions say go ahead and fold those up nice and neat. Then get the hand, which I've already put into a hand form, and it just plugs into the bottom. I just zoomed out a second so you can see what we've been doing. So we pulled the plug out here, all the airplane kibble to the back, arms to the back, tucked away between the wings, kind of the cockpit and the wings in the back. Swivel the waist around so you get the yellow highlights up top. That's going to be the arm elbow joint right there. Plug in the hand. Kind of fold things up nice and neat in the back. Then you can plug his gun in right here. So when we get Bruticus together, if we want to kind of arm him up, he can hold Blastoff's gun on a tab right there. Okay, so again, I'll have another video later that's going to put all these pieces together and make Bruticus. So that's Blastoff from the Combaticons, guys. Took a moment here to get them all posed up in action for you. Again, good posability on this figure, so you can do some things a little bit more dynamic. I will take a mulligan on articulation that his forearm here, as you can see, also has a pivoting feature kind of at the elbow. So I've got his arm turned over a little bit there in his pose. And that's our Blastoff, guys. So a pretty nice repaint of an existing mold, as we know. But definitely comes to life with the figure for me. And I like some of the story in the comic book in terms of the evolution of his alt mode over time. I think for me that helps tie together the question of why is he an airplane and a repainted aerial bot here basically with us today. See you next video.